This is I Buddy Landell, and you're about to listen to Booking the Territory, the unprofessional wrestling podcast, so stop working yourself into a shoot, you numbnuts. This show is strictly for entertainment purposes only. Don't be a dumb ass and get offended by anything on this show. And if you do get offended, that's a you problem. Before I throw it to the fellas for another banger of an episode, shout out to all the BTT patrons, including the largest Patreon contributors of the show: Disrespectfully Classy, Mark E. Blassie, Mike Childry, Joe Ice, Good Old Justin, and Mike H. Now enjoy this Outlaw Mud Show podcast. Remember, if it don't snow, it don't go. And be blessed and be a blessing, pal.
Hi, everybody. This is Jim Cornette, pro wrestling legend, and you're listening to the Book in the Territory Unprofessional Wrestling Podcast.
This is the artist formerly known as Daryl Van Horn, James Mitchell, the Sinister Minister, and I'm here to let you know I would rather slam my cock in a car door than to miss the dulcet tones of Hard Body Harper, my illegitimate son, on Booking the Territory podcast.
Woo, Messi, this is professional wrestler Jimmy Valiant, the Boogie Woogie Man. Tell my people, my brothers and sisters, don't you dare miss Booking the Territory. Oh, yeah.
This is a one-man gang. You're listening to Booking the Territory Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to this week's episode of Booking the Territory, the unprofessional wrestling podcast, where tonight we are covering WCW Saturday Night on TBS from December the 4th, 1993. If you're listening to this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the like button on the video, you know, the little thumbs up thing. And lastly, type a comment or two with what you liked or didn't like about the episode. It definitely helps the channel grow. It makes Harper very happy. Speaking of Harper, Doc, Harper's not here. Here's what's going on. We're recording this before Wildcat BTT X-Rated. Since I'm going to be out of town several days in New Orleans, you know, I don't get to see my family much. I don't get down there too often. Matter of fact, the last 3 years, the only time I'm going down there is 4 years is for a funeral and BTT Wildcat X-Rated. Those are all of my New Orleans trips. So I'm going to be down there with some family. Won't have time to record next week. So everybody who's saying, yeah, but you said you were going to do the thing with no free show, so you make sure you have Harper. Well, hey, it happens. I'm sorry. I apologize for your annoyance. But, Doc, it's just you and I here. How are you, man?
I'm back.
Boy, you hit the lottery.
Yeah, how so?
I didn't mean to cut you off, so go ahead and I'll tell you in a second.
I mean, how did I win the lottery?
You get the Rolex.
I don't feel richer.
You get the Rolex and the Toot Toot, all of it, for not dealing with Battlebowl.
Yeah, I lied to you. I said, yeah, I'll just watch it because, you know, I didn't. But if everybody's like, where was he? I had a work trip, and then, you know, those are always have the dinner that Harper hates. And then the next week, I was supposed to be on the sunny, luxurious beaches of Jamaica. But kids, youth sports schedule jumped up, and basically we're doing that now later in July. So there'll be more Crockett's if you don't like me. There'll be more. We're scrambling in the summertime because we're trying to live lives and live, laugh, and love and all that. Hey, it would be easier for me if Harper was here. Now I got to be Harper, and that doesn't work out well. But I'll try to be a stop down crazy person at some point. Speaking of Harper, we got an interesting text from him this week. Now, didn't we?
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to talk about this one because I glanced at it and I was like, "What? He's asking Riki Rachtman questions, and Ricky's responding."
Yeah. So did he put this on the Facebook group or anywhere else? Has anybody seen this, or is
I
this new
have
to?
no idea, to be honest. I did not look to see
Okay.
if he did, but
So
but
I'll
here,
just
say this: like, not everybody who listens is in the Facebook group because not everybody has a
true.
Facebook. So go ahead and
Yeah.
enlighten the people and tell them what he did.
Okay. So we've often wondered what it looks like with Harper when he's got the shoot job blues. What is Harper like at the shoot job? I think everybody listening has considered what that might look like.
C is for Chromebook.
That's true. But this week, during the middle of the day, when, the Menace and I are toiling away at the shoot job, and we figured Harper would be too, it's midday. We got a text from the superstar, and basically it's a screenshot of Facebook where he has asked Riki Rachtman. Now, for those of you who don't know who that is, he was on WCW at the end, but before that, he was the TV host of Headbangers Ball on MTV on Saturday nights. He was the owner of a club on the Sunset Strip area called the Cat House. And he was just one of those dudes that was kind of always in a scene somewhere. He's done some NASCAR stuff. But the main thing most people know him for is that Headbangers Ball on MTV in the late 80s, early 90s. Now, how much Headbangers Ball did you watch, Mike?
I mean, not a lot. You got to remember, I didn't have cable, so I'd had to be at somebody's house to see it.
You were hanging out with your white friends to see that, I would imagine.
Believe it or not, I knew some brothers that were in the metal. And
that's the great
definitely
thing
in the
about
classic
this show.
rock. I mean, that's how I told you I found out about, that's how I learned about Led Zeppelin and stuff from.
See, that's the great thing.
Bro, don't be fooled. Bro, let me tell you something, man.
That's the great thing about the show. We break down the stereotypes.
Man, look, man, I know a lot of brothers in my life. They might not outwardly express that they used to listen to Guns N' Roses and stuff like that back in the day. But I know a lot of brothers that were like, all right, yeah, that ain't bad, man. That's Sweet Child of Mine, Paradise City, Welcome to the Jungle. All right, I can
Them white boys can go.
It might not be their favorite genre of music, but damn it, let's not act like brothers that didn't listen to that back in the late 80s and early 90s. That's all I'm saying.
Just like I would listen to rap. I mean, Will Smith and stuff, right?
Okay, Will Smith. Continue, please.
Okay. He just put out a new song, by the way.
Did he
It
really?
slaps.
Okay,
Yeah.
it slaps. Please continue on whatever we were going with Riki Rachtman. I don't want to get sidetracked at this point, but Will Smith and It Slaps.
He did put out a song though. That's a real thing. Okay, so anyway, I went back and did a little checking on this, and went to Riki Rachtman's Facebook. And so apparently how this sets up is he did some sort of, hey, I'm doing this motorcycle ride for charity. I'm in between rides. I got some time. I'll answer some questions if you guys have any. So it's an opportunity. And apparently Harper just happened to be trolling at the right time, and voila. Well, he texts us and he says, Riki Rachtman, by the way, Rachtman is misspelled. Riki Rachtman responded to my question. I'm officially a made guy.
Yeah, like he's a Sopranos or something.
Right. He's a little proud of himself here. Now,
he was hype, man.
Yeah. So Harper's so now the next question everybody's in, well, what did he ask? So we have that screenshot, and it says, and by the way, there's timestamps on all this. So he sent it at 10:44 in the morning when he should be hard at work. But anyway, we won't hold that against him. Everybody gets a break. Was there a band you wanted on the ball, not Headbangers Ball, on the ball? So he's just gonna, we're buddies. Was there a band you wanted on the ball, but MTV said no? So Riki Rachtman actually responds. Chris got through, Christopher. And it says, I think there were a lot more bands I didn't want on the show than bands that I wanted on the show that didn't get play.
Harper getting his question answered.
So I went over later, like I said, Riki Rachtman's page, and there was, some Headbangers Ball questions. He does motorcycle rides for charity. There was a lot of questions about that. But here's the thing that's funny is, and we need to find this out from Harper next week, he didn't really answer Harper's question.
No, he didn't. It's kind of like when you ask Harper a question and don't get an answer. The irony there, right?
So I want to see if Harper's mad about that, because that's kind of what he does. So I just want to see if he picks up on that.
You ask Harper a question and all he responds with is, okay, bruh.
He sidesteps.
Can you straight up answer the question? When I say,
okay,
what time can you record?
Okay is not an option.
Okay is not an option. I'm asking for a specific. I'm trying to drill down.
You know how many times that happens?
Every week, nonstop. It's multiple times.
Weekly occurrence.
Yeah.
So, as
he was proud of that text, though.
Oh, he was. You could tell he was. The
way he fired it off back that quick, and you couldn't tell him nothing that day. He was walking around the stores with his chest puffed out.
Me and my boy Ricky, that kind of thing.
We tight now.
Yeah, Harper.
You responded with Yahtzee when you saw that Ricky responded to him, and then you also said he's probably referring to the Bullet Boys. Now, were you saying as a band that he wanted or didn't want?
Didn't want, but that's probably not true.
Bullet Boys.
If somebody else got their actual question asked, and it was along a similar line, because I went through this stuff, because when Harper's involved, you got to do a little bit of research to make sure there's no accompanying gold. Somebody did ask, who did you play or who was around that time that you were sure would have been like superstars that weren't? This won't mean anything to you. Probably not a lot to people listen, but Ricky did answer him. Ricky, I went to high school with him.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, I did. That's what we called him there. Riverside High.
Well, okay.
Yeah. He said that the London Choir Boys had a record that he was sure was going to be big. I remember them. I don't remember much about them. I didn't share that assessment, but it just went to prove that he was answering some questions, just not Harper's.
Gotta love it.
Yeah, so we got to see if we can't fire up a fake war between him and Riki Rachtman. Like he's excited, then turn him on it and like have him start, telling people that Riki Rachtman has a Buc-ee's or something.
That's gonna be the next thing.
Yeah.
Now Buc-ee's it's going beyond just the old wrestlers. Oh man.
And it's summertime. These Buc-ee's down here in Texas are packed.
Oh my God, dude. We're gonna drive past one in a few weeks, and I they better be lucky they got clean bathrooms, man, because I wouldn't stop otherwise. And I don't mean for me. I mean when you got a daughter and a wife with you, a clean bathroom goes a long way.
I was at a soccer game not too long ago, and somebody was wearing a Buc-ee's T-shirt.
I got one. I have a Buc-ee's T-shirt. My wife gave it to me.
What?
It's a football, like the T-shirt is what does it say on the front? It's like the Bucky, the beaver with the football helmet on, and in the back it's got a number on it. I don't even remember what the number is, but it's like a. She was like, "Oh no, it's football. I figured you'd like it." I'm like, okay.
Bro, it's a gas station.
I'm thinking to myself, it's $20 I could put in my fucking truck.
Man, you can go to the mortgage website and put a calculator on it. How much faster would we pay this off if we had 20 extra bucks a month?
Believe it or not, that 20 goes a long way when you're talking about interest.
Paying down that principal. And that's been a theme of the week. Like, people should really feel lucky that we're here tonight, whenever you're listening to this, because I got to tell you, you people out there, and I say that with affection because you're our people. Your boy Mike over there and the Dockster here, we're hollowed out. We ain't got no more to give. I mean, we're more whole, Swiss cheese whole, than we are human at this point because of the hollowing out. Would you agree with that?
Did Dusty Rhodes say? It's hard times, baby. Hard times.
I don't know how poor people do it. We've said that before. Burger King coolers. We are no fan on this show of the insurance industry. You are the hardest pork and beans over there eating because you've got children on the ticket. You're cooked.
It's
when it comes to car insurance.
It's a crime against nature what they do to your car insurance when you have. I don't technically have a teen driver anymore because he's 20, but the other one, she's about to get hers and she's 17. So it's about to explode again.
So I got my
20-year-old pays his portion, but what people don't understand is when you add a young person like that, it just doesn't increase the car they drive. It's like it increases every car on the policy like triple. It's a crime what they're doing. I don't really want to get into it because people are going to be like, oh, you're crying, bro. Look, man, Doc brought it up. I'm hollowed out. That's all I'll say.
Well, I got hollowed out this week. I looked at our bill. Before COVID, our car insurance was about $670 for me and Mrs. Doc. This week's bill was $1,150. I ain't had no wrecks. I ain't had no tickets on it. I'm a straight arrow on the roads.
You ain't driving a Bentley?
I ain't driving a Honda family over here because they're reliable and get you from point A.
You're not driving $80,000 vehicles. Like, that's the point, you know?
Yeah. And so I just say, you'd be like, well, why are y'all talking about this? Let me just say this. All these problems, it's not lost on me that the release that we have and the fun we have is to talk about this wrestling. Because trust me, when I talk about 31-year-old wrestling, 32-year-old wrestling, at least nobody's trying to hollow me out, you know?
I don't know. They hollowed some people out, charging them for Battlebowl, man.
Okay, so tell me here. catch me outside. What happened give me a brief recap of Battlebowl, because I didn't know. If I'm not going to have to watch it, I ain't going to watch it.
The nuts and the bolts are Vader won, and Mean Gene was the creepiest of creeps, with Fifi drawing the names all night. That's a summary of Battlebowl.
Did he put the names down his pants and tell her to go draw there?
Damn near.
All right.
I mean, he was talking about her low-cut shirt. He was talking about getting some stank on his down low. I mean, it's pretty rough.
She ain't that great. I'm telling you.
Crockett said that. He's like, what is it? Like, tell me if I'm wrong. He's like, I don't find Fifi to be anything special. And I said, you're not wrong. Here's a little spoiler. Go to tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT to hear the rest. Because let me tell you, that pay-per-view was terrible. Like, you can't accuse me of trying to sell something that's terrible. That pay-per-view was terrible, and we explained why. But Crockett was like, he's like, she just doesn't do anything. I said, yeah, she doesn't have any presence. There's nothing there that's magical. Like, you look at somebody like Woman when she was, doing her thing, or Sherry, or Miss Elizabeth, or even Missy. All four of those women are different in different ways, but they all had some kind of presence where you definitely felt when you watched them, one, they belonged on TV, and two, they brought something else to the table. Fifi don't bring nothing to the table.
Mm-mm.
I mean, besides being, I guess at the time, Flair's fling in like real life, what else? She wasn't bringing anything else to the table.
Well, I've got a note later. She's not the hottest woman in this building that we're going to review tonight. So I've got a timestamp that will prove it. Yeah. So Vader, I don't care about her. Vader won Battlebowl. In watching this episode, it feels like we now have set up the Starrcade match. How do we get there?
So during they show the promo of, they show Flair coming out to challenge Vader during Battlebowl, like it was pre-taped or whatever. And Vader, who was great in that promo, was like, "Why would I want to fight you? You're old news, you're over the hill, whatever." I forget the exact term he used. And one of the best things they did on Battlebowl was Flair has a contract, and in his contract it states if he doesn't beat Vader, he has to retire. So of course Vader, that is intriguing to Vader. He's like, whoa. And Harley's the one who notices it in the contract. And that's why he decided to take the match, because Harley's like, no, Vader, look at this. If he loses, he's got to retire. So that was the best thing on Battlebowl. Now, the funny part about that is they played it during Battlebowl, that segment. Then they played it on last week's Saturday Night that you missed 2 different times, as they needed some filler, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's probably the best thing that came out of Battlebowl.
Well, okay.
All right. So on that
Battlebowl.
note, anything else before we get into this week's episode of Saturday Night?
Do they do this again next year? I need to plan a trip.
Battlebowl? I think they put it on
Yeah.
ice for a little while, and then it comes back as a part of Slamboree, but I can't remember off the top of my head. I was at the 96 Slamboree pay-per-view when they did it. Oh, my God. If you ever want to just blow your brains out, go Google the results of that, and you will be like, because we did that at the end of Battlebowl. Crockett went and looked.
You blew your brains out?
We looked at the results of Slamboree 96 because I was there. It was in Baton Rouge. Holy crap. Boy. I think you're going to not want to do that pay-per-view when we get to it, 96.
Okay, I'll plan something to get out of that.
I figured you would.
Yeah, I got to go somewhere over there.
Let's get going on this week's episode of Saturday Night. If you missed the intro because you're only watching the video version, Doc and I just did about 20 minutes of stuff with Harper speaking to Riki Rachtman online, and we talked a little bit about Battlebowl, which, again, you can listen to us break down at tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. That is tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. We put the boots to it. There's a little bit of a spoiler, but we explained in detail why, and there was some good stuff on it, but you're going to want to go check that out at tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT.
Did Crockett try to defend it?
No. In the first 5 minutes, he was... Okay. Well, I'll tell you this part offline because this would spoil something for the listeners out there who are not patrons. There's something related to Battlebowl and Harper that I need to tell you.
Okay.
All right. Well, on that note, this week's episode was taped October the 11th of 1993. God. Yes, it is December 4th of 93, Saturday night.
Jesus.
Oh, my God. So Sid, according to the history of WWE.com, Sid actually pinned Awesome Kong on this episode, but WCW edited the footage because at this point, Sid was technically suspended, soon to be fired. So anyway, just wanted to point that out. He would have been, on the taping, but that's why he's not. We go to the first match, Doc. It is Paul Orndorff taking on our old buddy Eric Watts. There are plenty of Paula chants. Jesse points out that the assassin is not out there with Orndorff. They did tease what happened last week with Paul Roma and the assassin insinuating that the assassin might be directing Roma. Now, I do need to ask this, so this will make sense to you. Do you even know what happened last week with Roma and Orndorff?
Not specifically, but I think Arn cuts a promo later that kind of got me caught up.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, Arn and Roma are obviously tagging, and Orndorff is on the team that's tagging against them, and the assassin is out there, and Arn is getting pinned, and Roma steps through the ropes like he's going to make the save, and Assassin is on the ring apron pointing his fat stubby fingers and his fat face at Roma, basically directing him not to get involved, and Roma kind of scoots out the ring and doesn't make the save. So it definitely looked like, obviously, Trouble in Paradise. I don't even say Trouble in Paradise with Arn and Roma, but it certainly seems like Roma is on his way to not being Arn's
something
partner.
Wonderful.
Yes, pretty wonderful. Spoiler alert. Okay, you said you got do you have any time stamps for this opening match?
153.
All right. Thanks for letting me get through what I was saying. Hold on. Let's go back to one. Oh, shoot.
Okay,
I went too far.
We got some Latino Crips in the crowd, I think. Look. Right there.
Okay. Just because you see some Latino fellas.
He's got the blue headband.
Jesus Christ. I wear something like that when I cut the grass. I'm not a Crip.
How do we know?
Okay. By the way, I sent you an email from very, very long time patron Ruben Espinoza.
Okay.
About Dalton, Georgia. You need to read that email as soon as we get off this call.
When did you send it?
Last night.
Let me see.
It is spectacular. Now, for everybody out there, Ruben is a college professor. Ruben has taught
allegedly.
No, he is. Ruben has taught pro wrestling in college classrooms.
Who hasn't?
And Dalton, Georgia pops up, and he sent me some information about it that I know you're going to enjoy related to his classes. Anyway, we'll continue.
Okay.
We can talk about this.
Can you go back another few seconds? Because I caught something else just then.
With the crowd?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a long-haired dude that looks like he's a relative of the last time we spoke. Right there. No.
I saw him. Him?
Oh, my God. Look at that.
In the words of Hardbody Harper, what the fuck is that?
You might want to clip that and timestamp and clip that fella and keep him.
We're in Atlanta here, though, man. Why is
that picture might be useful for future things?
God, yeah, he was missing some teeth. That whole left side was gone, bruh.
Either that or it was just tobacco stained and you couldn't see him.
That's the other part of it too. You get all that tobacco juice on it and it's camouflaged.
It's gross.
Let's get to Roma and Watts here.
Okay, 250.
All right, 250. Another woman in a crowd.
Yeah.
Mike, y'all need to talk about the wrestling, not the women in the crowd. That's the middle one. She's been there forever.
That's what I was going to say. She's been there, and I think the one on her left, our right, is a repeat.
Yes.
I think the one on our left, her right, is new. They're recruiting new rats.
Yeah, these are the same women, definitely. You can look at them. Yeah.
They're probably
except for that one on the left. Yeah, she's not new.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, she is new. The other two are not.
Okay, can you get to 418?
Jesus Christ. What are we looking for at 418?
This one Harper would like. It's all women. Look at her.
Maybe. I was trying to stop it when her hands aren't in the way.
She's got some sort of overalls on, but like they're side overalls, so her cans are like spilling out.
Okay. I've got no comment. She's got too much makeup on. The hair is definitely dyed a very, very dark color. She's got like a grunge thing kind of look almost to me. Not my speed. She's got one of them choke things around her neck. Hard pass, brother.
That's a good sign.
No. I'll pass. All right. On to the match. Anything.
I'll say this. Watts was not bad here, which is interesting because it's like, once again, you got to wonder how much of a disservice his booking has done to him in the first, as we find out in the match, year he's been here.
I can't blame him for his daddy's stupidity.
Okay.
He's not like he's not the worst wrestler on the planet. Like I've seen 10 times worse. But what they tried to do with him when Watts was there is just the height of stupidity. And I say they. What his dad did with him while he was there, first came in, is just ridiculously stupid. And that's all I can really say about it.
Okay. Well, I thought, with Orndorff, he's got obviously a dance partner here. Can you go back to 629 real quick?
Okay.
To me, actually, can you go back about 7 or 8 seconds before that? Man, if I was the WWE, this is what I'd have Gunther doing to people.
He does do that to people. What are you talking about?
I would turn Gunther into some sort of, I was thinking about this. I would turn him into some sort of cross between Paul Orndorff and Steven Regal.
I mean, I kind of feel like he's almost that in some ways.
Okay.
He's a better promo than, I can't say better promo. He's a different promo than Regal and Orndorff. Yeah, but, I mean, he does a lot of holes and stuff, and he beats the shit out of you. I don't know if I want to change. No, I don't want to change anything about Gunther.
You said you wished that he was American not too long ago.
I never said that, but whatever.
Okay. Well, this match was what, 8 minutes, 9 minutes?
They put some time in.
Yeah, decent little TV match. This is better than I thought it would be when I saw Watts.
The damn Paula chants were. Like, nobody gets more out of less than Paul Orndorff when it comes to a chant.
It seems like that's kind of the name, the goal here, right?
I totally agree. It's what it needs to be. I mean, I'm not sure what else we can say about it.
It's not you. This isn't UFC. This is a work. So why not work?
He does his thing when it comes to working the crowd too, and it's so easy. The way he just wastes time every single match with Paula. And when I say waste time, I mean that affectionately.
It's not easy, but it's easy money.
Yeah, it is. Easy money. And it's easy work too when you can do that with a crowd. Like that,
it's over. Like
yeah. If you can spend 3 minutes milking a crowd with Paula, like, I mean, you're on it.
If he talks to Watts, it's not okay. If they don't get into it, we can go to this. They're into it.
Yeah, they're never not into it. Is I guess the way I'd put it.
Good use of the double negative. I appreciate that.
And it works. Here's the thing: these center stage crowds, like, they get bored. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I think
50% of the time it works every time.
Yeah,
that's the old anchor man.
Well, we see the recap. Anything else as we
No, this was a decent little match, and I got to tell you, it was better than I anticipated.
So coming out of that, we see Jesse, Mean Gene, and Tony Schiavone speculate what is up with Paul Roma not making a save last week, and they kind of show a quick clip of it during that tag match there when Roma didn't save his tag partner, Arn Anderson, as Arn Anderson was getting pinned. Arn Anderson looks like backstage he was putting in some work, doing some plowing, because he comes out of the dressing room dripping wet.
Come on.
Look at him. And I can't remember if Harper's commented on a shirt. Arn Anderson's t-shirt, Four Horsemen t-shirt, it really looks nice. It's a nice screen printed Four Horsemen shirt. I don't know how else to describe it. But
I thought we didn't have merch.
I think Harper would really, really like that. Okay, can you stop quoting Bischoff with that? I'm surprised you didn't want to stop me with the lovely ladies, or you were probably about to as Arn's coming to the ring.
No, Arn's out, so we got to pay attention to this thing.
Okay. They look like some new lovely ladies.
Well, and to be fair, we're about more than just the ladies. And if I have any question to their age, I'm not too interested because I like women and not girls. Let's just be clear.
Yeah, good point. So, Doc, this Tim Burton guy that Arn Anderson is fighting.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about him.
I don't know much about him. He's got a decent look.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with his hair.
Yeah, he needs to do something about it wasn't acceptable to just, hold on, I'm about to sneeze. That caught up on me.
Mute yourself when you do that.
I couldn't get to myself. It hit me, and I couldn't get to mute. So I apologize. You'll cut that out.
Maybe.
Get it in post.
Okay.
He's got a good build. He looks like he's been in a ring before. His hair's kind of a problem because he's balding, but back then it wasn't as acceptable to just go do a Mike Mills. So I wanted to know if, like, by chance, in the Southern Indies, you would ever like run across this guy.
No, I never ran across him, but I'm pretty sure he did a lot more than this.
Yeah, he would. He has that just general appearance that would be the case, right?
I mean, I've seen him before, but
there were a lot of guys on this particular episode that I had not seen before.
Crockett mentioned this. One of the beauties of we haven't decided, but when Nitro starts, but if we were to stick with Saturday Night, one of the beauties of Saturday Night is the variety of all of the enhancement talents. Like the Gamblers of the World, the Men at Work.
I'm going to get bored of that in about 3 weeks.
No, you won't. So you're saying you want to do 3-hour Nitros? Is that what I'm hearing?
Over 3 weeks. Slow down, brother.
Mark Wilson, one of our most tenured patrons, he had a great suggestion. He's like, screw it. Just kind of like do both of them, alternate weeks. I think that's what he said. He's like, what's the frickin' rush? He's got a point. Like, what's the rush?
It's kind of like we say at work. You and I have said this. You got us for 40 hours. So I'm not going to complain too much. As long as it's not immoral, unethical, illegal. We're far enough down the food chain that if you want to waste the time, it's stupid, but we'll let you.
I'm not tying into what I said. You're going to have to break that down a little bit better for me.
We're here every week. So if we want to slow down and do it, fuck it.
Yeah, that's the point. That's kind of what he was saying.
If we don't, we won't.
And then there are times where, like, here's the thing that I always say about these shows.
And maybe we just look at the things and decide what we want to do, and we don't have to stick to a pattern. Let's just skip to 98 right now.
Well, no. Like, if you're doing a Saturday night where it's nothing happening, you don't have to spend 10 minutes on every single match if nothing's happening. Like, you just go, okay, Arn beats Tim Burton. Let's move along. We didn't even see any stupid-looking people in the crowd we can make fun of. There was a nothing-happening match. Here we go. Like, you don't have to spend... This is the thing I always try to tell... I've told you this before. Maybe not in this way. Like, if you have a nothing-happening match, don't spend 15 minutes on it. Trying to find something to talk about with it. Because you're not going to. You're just wasting time at that point. Now Harper's take is he literally just wanted to skip Battlebowl. Yeah. He's like, why are we doing this? I said, because it's a pay-per-view. But why? Because it's a pay-per-view and we tell the people we're going to review it. He's like, I don't want to do this, bro. It's just stupid.
If you remember back to when your son was probably 10 or 11, that's what it sounds like.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And when you have a 17-year-old daughter, it's still like that. Because if you want to hear somebody hit you with why for every goddamn thing, it's that.
You should just ground her and take her phone.
Bruh. She got a job, man.
So?
She's working part-time somewhere now, man. I didn't tell you that.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I think you did tell me that.
Yeah, she finally got her first little job. Dude, it's hard for these high schoolers in this area to find a job, man. It's crazy how hard it is. And when you walk into these fast food places, you realize, wow, they're all grown people. At least, like, not all, but
you know why? Because everybody's trying to knock out this rent and stop getting hollowed out.
It took her forever to find a gig, but anyway, she's
but she's still under your roof, which means you can found her.
Okay. Back to Arn Anderson versus Tom Burton. Actually, not too bad. Competitive in a way. Burton doesn't get eaten up. They probably go 5 to 6 minutes, and Arn's going to end up hitting him with the spine buster for the win. A good little match, and Tom Burton's got a good little look. Not that they're ever going to do anything with him.
Correct. So he does the in this match, he does that hammerlock slam, the Anderson hammerlock slam.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Mm-hmm.
It just makes so much sense.
Yeah, it looks good.
I've got this guy by the arm, and now I'm going to slam him on it.
Yep. Looks great.
Why wouldn't you?
For real. All right, Doc, anything else before we go to the promo?
Bro. Let's hit this promo.
Yeah, let's hear from Arn Anderson, one of the GOATs. Here it is.
Tremendous win for Arn Anderson in singles competition. We've said it many times. Probably the greatest tag team wrestler the sport has ever seen. Been a world tag team champion on many occasions, many different partners, and of course in singles competition, as we've just seen. But over the past couple of weeks, a lot's been happening to you, and you wanted to talk to me about something that's kind of laying heavy on your mind for the past week, especially after the tag team match we just saw not too long ago.
Well, Tony, if you look at this shiner and you follow what's been happening the last few weeks, you would think if it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all. But not so. You see, everybody's choosing sides. Seems like Paul Orndorff, Steve Austin have got some alliance. A couple of weeks ago, they did a tap dance on me. During a match with Orndorff, Steve Austin hit the ring, and they did a pretty good job, as you can see. Well, I looked at my partner and I said, you got to suck it up. You know what it's going to take. I need somebody to watch my back. We went into that tag match. I thought everything was fine. I hit Steve Austin with that spine buster. That was all she wrote. And then somebody dumped a ton of bricks on the back of my head. I didn't know what happened. I couldn't make heads or tails of it till I got home and saw the match back on TV. And then I saw what happened. Roma, I don't know if you just had a mental lapse. I don't know if you just froze, that you had some vision that King Kong had broke out of Disney World and was standing on the other side of the ring. I don't know if you thought you were in a swimming pool and Jaws was swimming for you, but you just froze. Now understand one thing, you're either in or you're out. You're either a horseman or you're not. There is no gray area where that's concerned. You're either going to be my partner or you're not. Now you're not here to defend yourself, so I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. But understand one thing, and all these people will attest to it, my friend. You stick a knife in my back, I'm going to pull it out and shove it down your throat. Rest assured, I don't take anything laying down.
The enforcer, Arn Anderson, still to come. Clarence Stevo to tag out.
Bruh, he's like just ridiculous. Either you're my partner or you're not. You stick a knife in my back, I'm going to pull it out and shove it down your throat. Just get the Rolex out. Let's give it to him now. Doc, your thoughts?
You're either in or you're out. I mean, that's a great line. The other thing that I think he did that was so subtle in the fact that he's cutting the promo, he's laying it down, is, to me, and boy, he told the story of what's going on with the angle better than the announcers have.
Yeah,
I don't feel like there's this everybody's choosing sides, and this is his own. I don't feel like that's a story the announcers have told. I felt like he went out there and got his point across, got the angle across, cut some lines, and said, "Okay, I'm done." That was great.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
I mean, we shouldn't be acting surprised this deep into it, but
right.
Quality is quality.
We shouldn't be shocked when Arn Anderson does enough to get the Rolex.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, we shouldn't be shocked at that point.
But he's down figuring out that Roma's the turd that I've been trying to tell y'all he is.
Okay. I'm going to leave that alone, but all right.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Doc, I'm not going to play these promos, but I did want to get your thoughts on something here. We played Arn's promo, but, we go to the Mean Gene. We go to Mean Gene with the Starrcade Control Center, and Flair is, going to put all of it on the line against Vader. If he doesn't win, he retires, and much more. And last week, we saw Flair cut a promo. Now, I had Harper and Crockett break down the way they're doing these promos from the Starrcade Control Center. How would you describe this projection style promo to people, and what do you think about it?
I think it looks like a dysfunctional hologram. 1993 computer where somebody doesn't have a full connection. They're projecting. I had a problem. I thought it was my screen at first.
You thought it was your phone you were watching it on?
Yeah, I was like, what just happened? Did I hit settings on something? Unnecessary, stupid. We're paying attention to the wrong things.
Any other thoughts on it? I'll tell you what Harper and Crockett said.
The other thing I have is I'm just back from missing Battlebowl, and we're already into Starrcade. There ain't time for a proper build for this stuff. Anyway, what did those two have to say?
There ain't time for a proper build when they didn't build anything for Battlebowl, just so you know. But
why would you?
I mean, you got a little time. It's early December at this point, so you kind of do. So I can't remember if it was Crockett or Harper that said it. One of them said the projection looked like Star Wars. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. If you remember that scene from Star Wars where Princess Leia is projected from R2-D2.
Yeah.
And I was like, that it's not exact, but it's a good description. It's dumb.
These are gimmicks in the worst sense of the word.
It's dumb. The promo from Austin talking about Dustin and Colonel Parker, it's fine.
I missed it because I was too busy trying to make sure that my screen was okay.
It's meat and potatoes as they try to build up Starrcade, but this is the used to hear the term doing too much. Like they're trying to do too much at that point.
It's like a monkey flinging poo at the wall to see what will stick because we're desperate because we can't draw a crowd.
Yeah, I don't. It just you didn't need graphics are fine. That projection style promo, I don't know what. No, I'm on a hard pass on that. So from there we go to a match. It is the world champion, the WCW world champion, Vader, taking on a gentleman by the name of Alex Davis. When we finally get to the ring and we see Alex Davis is way too happy to be about to take a beating from Vader. He's smiling.
They said that.
Yeah, he is smiling like it's weird when you see him because you're like, this dude's about to be destroyed and have his teeth kicked in and his balls shoved down his throat.
Whoa.
and he's smiling. Look at him. He's happy. He's like, all right, yeah, let's do this. Yeah, I'm the guy. I'm going to do this today. He's in a good mood. Doc, your thoughts on this?
They talk about that during the match, but my question is this. Do you think he's potentially like a power plant guy, and this is just he's getting a shot in the ring with Vader?
So since we get in trouble when we call it the power plant at this time, I don't know at what point they start calling it the power plant. But I will say
we get in trouble. From
who? Several years ago, you had mentioned the power plant, and I had said something like the power plant's not around by then. My inbox was full of people saying the power plant was around. They were training people. I was like, that wasn't the point. It wasn't called the power plant. Sure, they were training people, but it wasn't the power plant. Like, it didn't become the power plant to me until you start seeing the commercials for the power plant. Like when they literally started showing, hey, you can come train to be a WCW wrestler. And they literally called it the power plant. But so it's semantics, to be honest with you. Whether it's called the power plant or not, yes, I do agree that he may have been a trainee at the time.
Okay. I'm glad we got that settled.
Yeah, that's the nuance of the things that you don't realize that are said on this show that, man, people want to correct you and me.
That just makes me want to get more stuff.
I know, that's why you do it.
That's the Harper in me coming out.
That was the point I made last week or a few weeks ago when I was talking about Harper, how Harper purposely trolls. He is a troll, and he does it just to get a reaction, and everybody falls for it.
Every time, too.
Every time. Not everybody falls for it, but there's a portion that falls for it.
I say everybody, but and then that'll get people going, well, it's not me. People just do the Charlie Brown, man. They come up, they run, they take their kick, the ball gets pulled away, and they get up, dust themselves off, and go get right back in line to take another field goal attempt.
On that note, Vader wins with a power bomb. He beats Alex Davis. Any thoughts?
I'm just glad that young man from the power plant got a chance.
The power plant, sure. All right, let's go to Vader and Harley Race. They're going to cut a promo. They're at ringside or in center stage with Mean Gene. Here it is.
No, the big one has been signed. The main event for Starrcade, 3 weeks from this coming Monday night, live on pay-per-view cable TV from Charlotte, North Carolina. In that main event, this man, WCW Heavyweight Champion Vader, is going to be squaring off against the Nature Boy Ric Flair, 10-time former world champion, a man who has put his entire career on the line. Also joining us, Harley Race.
I am the Bull of Fat, the king of the woods, if you will. The WCW Heavyweight Champion of the world. I stand before you unbowed. The crown is on my way. The gold is mine. Ric Flair, contracts have been signed. Your name is on the dotted line. Every hour of every day, every minute of every hour, every second of every minute, the time draws closer. It comes closer. Your career is coming to an end at the hands of the greatest wrestler in the history of professional wrestling, the most powerful wrestler in the world today. Brother, you bring it on to Charlotte, North Carolina, and Starrcade. You bring all your famous friends, Lawrence Taylor, Michael Jordan, the mayor. Bring your friends, bring your neighbors, bring your relatives, bring your mama, bring your wife, bring your baby boy, because I'm coming not only to defend my world title, but to embarrass you and cause you pain and humiliation. Ric Flair, your career's on the line, brother. Do you know how many heads Vader has on his trophy wall? Stinger, Ron Simmons, Cactus Jack, Koloff, and the man who thought he ruled the world. Sid Vicious is no longer in wrestling. Ric Flair, the odds are against you. You've got to climb a mountain. You've got to come. You've got to come prepared for war, brother, because I'm going to cause you pain.
All right, I thank you very much. Vader is set for his title defense in Charlotte as part of Starrcade. And stay tuned, we're going to be right back with more exciting action here on WCW Saturday Night on TBS. Oh, yeah.
Doc, I have an observation about this promo. I thought it was a really good one. I want to get your thoughts before I talk about what I have to say, though.
I thought it was really good. I thought it was too long. I like that Harley didn't talk there because this is getting personal. It's between them. He brought up Sid being gone from wrestling, but you just said he was suspended and on this taping. So I was a little confused by that. But overall, I thought it was a really good promo.
Okay. So if you pay attention, when Vader comes out, Harley is not with him. I think this match was taped in October, like we mentioned, 11th. And I also believe, because you see Harley's not out there, I also believe that this promo was taped later and that they're taping this with no crowd. That crowd, if you listen to it, is being piped in. Because you hear, there's too many boo, like the same track, boo in it. I don't think there's anybody in center stage when he's cutting this promo.
Okay.
I think this promo is taped after the fact. You know, although Sid is suspended at this time, I think this promo's taped closer to 12-4 than the actual match was. And I know Vader's sweaty and stuff, but you know, when you're a big man, it don't take much for you to start sweating. So
whoa.
I'm just saying, I think this is taped later.
Okay.
I don't know. What do you think? Did you notice that background kind of, did you feel it might have been piped in a little?
I wasn't paying attention, so I don't know.
Okay. I almost felt like Arn's promo, the crowd was being piped in too, but he's at ringside, so it's a little different. There is a crowd there for Arn. But for this, I don't think there's a crowd.
Don't put anything past Bischoff.
Well, no, my point is, even if Arn's was piped in, the crowd noise, it's less obvious because you can see a blurry crowd behind him. And you can tell it's not a green screen. Whereas with Vader, they're never in front of the crowd. Mean Gene welcomes him in. It sounds like a crowd track that's just playing behind them as this is post-produced. I probably thought too much about that, huh?
Yeah, maybe.
All right, man. Well, let's go to the next match. Boy, I do wish Harper was here this week, and I wasn't traveling where he had to miss this show. But we got Ron Simmons versus Sonny Rogers, and I really would want Harper to dissect our this guy Sonny Rogers here.
He's goofy.
He is interesting looking fella, to say the least. This dude, he works at the Jiffy Lube and smokes his sticky icky. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying.
He looks like he busts his tables at the catfish joint, and he's overly friendly when you don't want him to be because he's borderline he's borderline R word.
I wouldn't say that, but he's an interesting looking fella. I don't even think that's wrestling tights. I think that's bike shorts he's got on. Remember those bike shorts back in the day? I seriously think that's what he's wearing. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, he's bowing up to Ron like he's going to do something.
Yeah, that's not a good idea.
Come on, dude. What are we doing here? Anyway, Ron Simmons is going to defeat him.
You don't step to Ron.
No, don't step to Ron. Don't step to Ron. You can step with Too Cole, Scorpio, but don't step to Ron.
Right.
All right. Thoughts on this one?
I think I'm ready for heel Ron to pop on out.
Yeah, I just don't know what they do with it.
Like he needs something new.
I mean, I love how Watts, if you've ever heard him talk about Ron's reign as world champion, Watts likes to make it sound like Ron wasn't, he didn't have that oomph, as Watts always says, but dude, he did nothing with him once he won the title. He kind of almost neutered him. I don't know. And then once Watts is gone, they treat even Ron worse. It's like
they got even more racist after they got rid of the race.
It's ridiculous. He's a former world champion. He beat Vader. And since he lost it in late December, early January, he's just floundering. Like, I don't ever want to hear certain things about, you can't always blame booking. You're right. You can't always blame it, but he's been booked like shit. And I don't agree that they got racist. I just think they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Because they're not racist when it comes to misusing everybody else.
Why can't they be both?
They ain't racist. They just are stupid. Bro, one of these days, we're going to do like a patron show. I've been wanting to do this for the longest time, for this time period, where we just go down the list and go, Dustin, Rick Rude, Sting, Vader, Flair, Arn, Ron Simmons. And we just go through how many names are like top tier talent. I'm not even talking mid card. I mean top tier talent, where we just go through a list of names and go, and then you look and you go, wait, Steve Austin. Like, you just start going, wait, they got 20 guys that are like potential main eventers or main eventers. And they can't draw shit.
We are worried about hologram projection.
Right. I'm serious. Like, if you just start writing down names from 92 and 93, and then you realize quickly, like, how did they screw this up? And couldn't draw a dime. And can't draw crowds. Can't draw crowds so much that they've moved to Disney for Worldwide. And they're in center stage almost always for Saturday night. It's the, bruh, I know, I'm preaching to the choir, right?
This whole next 7 years is going to be us trying to figure out a way to save a company that is beyond saving already. I mean, Shivani said it. From the time he came back from WWF, he always figured they were going out of business. It was just a matter of when.
Yeah, that was one of the first things he said when he started his podcast many years ago. One of the first things. It's crazy how they hung on for so long and ended up being profitable only to tank again, right?
Bro, we live in a world where TNA is still around.
Yeah, TNA lasted longer than WCW.
That's fucked up.
I mean, they've been consumed and bought a few times, but yeah. All right, let's go to Ron Simmons. He's got to cut a promo now after he defeated Sonny Rogers with the shoulder tackle off the top rope. Here's Ron.
Dedication's all about. And you can see Ron Simmons standing here before me. Not many people in this sport have held the World Heavyweight title. And this man 1 year ago was the World Heavyweight Champion. And Ron, with wins like that, the way you've been performing here on television, you're going to be back in the title hunt in just a few weeks.
Well, you know I'm looking forward to it. You know that, Tony. And you're right. Only an elite group of men can say they've been the world's heavyweight champion. Ron Simmons is on his way back to the top to becoming the man and on a fast rise to it.
Thanks, you mean man, nice train out here. Train?
Mr. Simmons, I've been at the gym every day, training hard, working double hard, overtime, so I can pattern my life after yours, Ron Simmons, because you going all the way to the top in WCW.
Well, you know something? Well, one thing, Ron Simmons been to the top. Let's get that corrected. And on his way back again. Now get this. You wanted my advice? I've been giving it to you. You've been working hard in the gym, and I'm going to give you an A+ on that, brother. But hey, it's getting it done in the ring more importantly what counts, all right? Pay attention, and believe me, you will go far in this too. And on another note, you need to be on time, you know what I'm saying, for the workouts, all right? Let's make that a little bit more prompt, okay? And no matter what Ron Simmons has to do, who he had to step on or go through, I'm going to do that to get back where I belong, on top.
Ron Simmons and Ice Train looking awesome here on Saturday night. We'll have more action. Stay right.
Thoughts on that? Ron was all right.
Yeah, he's all right. I like cranky old Ron having to deal with this young hit. Look, man, we got to be on time. We gotta put in the work. You got to do what I say. I mean, aren't we all living that life these days with somebody that we're trying to like raise or mentor? Everybody out there can relate to that.
No doubt. I can't disagree at all.
If these motherfuckers would just listen to me, this shit would go a lot smoother. That kind of thing, you know.
Oh, man. Well, we go to the next match. It is the WCW World Tag Team Champions, the Nasty Boys with Missy Hyatt. They take on Troy Ace and Al Phillips. You know, okay. Doc, you said something earlier in this episode about power plant and trainees, and I get the feeling we got two more trainees here because I don't think we've seen these guys before.
Yeah, lots of brothers here, man. But I know you like that.
Don't you see how they doing the brothers, though?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they get in the ring with Missy. Gosh, she looks good up there. That hair.
I just said, don't you see how they're doing the brothers as Ron Simmons picks up a win in the match before?
It's always flimsy when you play the card.
Oh, man. They are treating the brothers wrong, though, with these
The one dude in green kind of looks like Kevin Hart, right?
Maybe a little in the face, but
okay. Is Kevin Hart like accepted in the community, or is he kind of a white person's thing?
I don't know what that means, but I'm not really a fan of him. Nobody in my house. I don't hate him. Let me be clear.
Right. It's not like he's
right.
a problem.
Yeah, I just like I don't find him to be funny.
Like if you had Cat Williams versus Kevin Hart.
I did. Cat Williams is funnier to me. I did see him on an interview several years back. He was talking about financial literacy, and he was talking about what he tries to do for, within like the inner cities and stuff. And he's like, when I was young, I would hear these I would see these old white men talk about investing, and he said, like, I don't even know what the hell that means. I'm hearing this from an old white man. Like, he's like, I need a connection. And what he said was, so like when he goes into the inner cities and, communities that aren't as well funded and, just struggling and whatnot, he's like, he tries to, when he talks to young kids, and he does that often, it seems, based on what he was saying, he talks about investing and what that means. He's like, I feel like the reason I need to do that is I need to do it because I come from there. I need them to hear it from somebody who's like them, and not just in the way of color, but just not as fortunate. Like, I need you to hear it from somebody who's come from the bottom and has risen. So I like that about him. He's trying to teach. He's
still not funny,
but I don't find his comedy funny at all. That's just me.
Right. Okay. Well, speaking of black people, that's a hell of a line I just threw out there.
I mean, the Nasty Boys eat up two brothers. I don't know what you want. What else we can say? They just job them out. Now, I was going to ask you.
I have a timestamp. I was going to try to get you going here. Where's Harlem Heat been?
Oh, we're good. They were on last week. It's
okay.
All right. Yeah.
I wasn't here.
Bruh, I had a timestamp. The Nasty Boys are putting the boots to this Troy Ace guy, right? The guy in green, or Al Phillips. I can't remember which one was which.
Whoa. Are you trying to say they both look alike?
No, I'm trying to say they don't really make it clear. But so watch, he's in the ring getting beat down by the Nasty Boys. Watch when he makes the tag, how he just pops up and goes to the ring apron.
I know, I saw that.
Completely no sells and like, all right, let me get out of here.
And that guy took too long getting in the ring, so Knobs went after him.
So
that was a weird sequence right there.
Sure was. It's just two young guys, man. That's all that is to it. They're two trainees. They're young. They're learning.
On the job, on TV.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I had.
But we get the finish, and it's Knobs with the slam, and then Sags comes off the top rope, and Nasty Boys get the win because, of course, why not? 1, 2, 3. They're the champs. It's not like these guys are going to beat them. Any other thoughts, Doc, before I continue?
No, we need to get to this next little segment.
Oh, we do. It is time for this week's edition of the Amateur Challenge. Let's go to that right now.
Fulfill your dreams of being on TV in the WCW Amateur Challenge.
I wear a mask to keep my identity. I'm Tony the Kid Lunatic. My name sticks up for what I am, as a lunatic. This is what I used to train. I know it's nothing compared to WCW competitors. This is what taught me how to wrestle now.
I wanted to get into a wrestling school. How I got the idea was I wanted to get into wrestling, but I didn't know how. First I was told, all right, that you have to have wrestling experience, and it's something that I don't have, but I do have.
I'm wilder than Sting. I'm cooler than Ric Flair.
Woo! Confident or crazy?
Dude, this is a rib at this point. Like, if you're not watching the video version of
the second fellow said he learned to train by wrestling his stuffed animals, his stuffies.
If you're not watching the video version to see this first guy he's got like that's the same guy, the second fella. That's the same dude as the first. He's got like a purple, I want to call it a shirt, but it's not. It's just some kind of purple cloth he's got wrapped around his head like I don't know what the hell he's supposed to be. This is a rib. Crockett brought up something really interesting last week. So when we did the voicemail hotlines, which for our 10-year anniversary, so everybody out there who left a voicemail, thank you very much. I mean, it was like 25 minutes worth of voicemail, so we appreciate it. When Crockett did the voicemail line, I said, look, we can't just say call and leave a voicemail. We got to give people a time limit. Like that's why I came up with the 1 minute, because I was like, I wanted people to, keep it high and tight, get the shit in and get out, right? You don't need to go on for 10 minutes. Crockett was like, can you imagine? They had no restrictions on this stuff. He's like, I'm sure these tapes, some of them were just people like talking forever. And then I started thinking, yeah, you got some asshole in here who started filibustering. I was like, they probably had 10-minute promos, 15-minute promos of these assholes trying to get everything in that they could get in because they thought it was the chance of a lifetime. And I'm really thinking like whoever watched this just saw some of this terrible shit and just said, you know what, man, let's just splice some of these dumb idiots together. It just embarrass people and show how stupid they are. Because we've literally only seen one or two that were okay. One of them was a listener of ours. I've been meaning to tell you that. I keep forgetting.
Oh boy.
He was one of the brothers that cut one, and his name's John Sutton. And he did say that he got a signed autograph and photo from Tony Schiavone for it, even though Tony wasn't the one watching these, like in, doing the editing of it. But anyway, this is terrible. How bad can this shit be this week? We'll continue.
Trying to think about how to say this. It's like they went to a youth mental facility to cut these.
Some of them.
And I'm not saying that, like a group home, I'm not saying that to be mean. The mean part of me says, can we use the R word again yet?
No.
Okay. That's what it feels like, dude. Like this is some sort of Make-A-Wish amateur challenge thing. Or it's a rib. Always could be a rib.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. I mean, it's I don't want to call it valuable, but it's free programming. It's eating up time. I don't know what else to say. It's some of these are.
I can't say in Harper's voice, but I guess
some of this is the thing is like 95% of it is so bad. And that was the other thing. It was not last week before. I can't remember which week it was. It was nothing but young teenagers. They weren't even like 18 years old. Like, I feel like if you're going to do this, you should have said, hey, you got to at least be 18. But then again, who knows? It's just bad.
This feels like a bad idea. That's all.
Yeah. All right, Doc, let's continue. The next match is Bagwell versus Bob Starr. I like Bob Starr. I find him to be kind of funny. He's a funny looking fellow, but he's also funny when they introduce him.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Hold on.
You got the woman in the crowd, huh?
Yeah, 46-37.
I'm going to go to that. But look at Bob Starr with that glorious red mane, and he's got personality, bruh.
It glows.
Look at that hair. It's like a lion mane. All right. This one.
Oh, my. Okay, that chick right there is better than Fifi. And she's wearing a wedding ring, too.
I mean, you're in the redhead, so, okay.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
I'm into Bob Starr, then.
That's good. Tremendous.
Okay, so if you keep going with this, we're going to get some Bob Starr dick dancing. Just so you know.
Oh, yeah. So Bagwell came out to Scorpio's music. I don't know if you noticed that.
Why not? He doesn't have his own.
And he's got Teddy with him. And I do have the note about Bob Starr doing some dick dancing. I just don't have the exact timestamp. There it is. Here. 46:56. You know, it would have been better if they would have been panned out, though.
Yeah.
They were too zoomed in on Bob. Bob can bump, man. He's funny looking, but like
But he also set Bagwell up for a pop to get the crowd into it.
That's right. That's right.
He did his job.
He did his job. You're exactly right. All right. They go for a while. Anything else from it?
I feel like if we're trying to get Bagwell over, it should have been a little quicker, but I understand why it wasn't.
This is a former world tag team champion at this point. Remember that.
This isn't a tag team match.
I know. I'm just saying.
Was Scorpio in Korea or something?
No, they won it right before Havoc.
No, I meant, why isn't it a tag team match? Where is Scorpio?
I see what you're saying.
Is he out back getting high?
I don't know.
Okay.
This is the era where they would do that, though. They would.
No.
You know, even if you were a tag team, they'd send you out for singles. I mean, we've seen it with Harlem Heat a bunch of times.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go to the finish unless you got something else. Oh, I went too far. Hold on 1 second. Why did I go that far?
1, 2, 3.
Anyway, it's a fisherman suplex, and Bagwell wins. Perfect plex, whatever you want to call it at this point. Any thoughts?
No.
All right, so let's keep going. Mean Gene plugs the hotline, tells us to call it. He's got some information for us. I can't wait till he breaks the information about Hogan coming in. Or they start teasing Hogan's name. That's what it is long before he comes in. You're going to love that, but we can hold off your hatred of that till now, and mine as well, because, you know, Hulk Hogan. We go to Lord Steven Regal versus Mark Starr. The USA chants are going again, Doc, because those damn British folks, communist British assholes are so evil. Your thoughts?
Well, a couple of things. We're not going to break kayfabe here, but Mark Starr is also from the UK.
I think we talked about that.
So, what are we doing? He's Yoshi Kwan's brother.
Yeah, we've talked about that too at one point.
Well, if it isn't Sir Shrimp and Lord Dip.
That's a good sign. That sign was tremendous. That's a good sign. You got to admit it. Well, if it isn't Sir Shrimp and Lord Dip.
Man, the grin on that hillbilly's face while they were making it, and the RVD pose after they finished.
Okay, so I have a thought. Those signs all look familiar, and it's always a different person. I feel like they're handing those signs out.
Okay.
I don't think somebody's making it, because we've seen that same type of stencil sign with the multicolored letters, like for weeks on end.
Boy, Dundee's got, look at that dude.
Bruh,
Dude,
they are chanting USA at Dundee. Like, literally, he's Muhammad Hassan.
Daddy, I'm in Memphis, Tennessee, and I like to bang the American rats.
Dude is English. He's not from Soviet Russia.
But I'm talking
about Regal, got him, obviously.
Dundee's got him worked up on the outside in this match.
Because he's walking around holding a freaking British flag.
But a little baby one.
Oh, my God.
He's not out there like Jack Victory and Johnny Ace
with the
swinging
big 8x10. Okay. On to the match.
Mark Starr kind of looks like if you took Davey Rich's face and put it on Brad Armstrong.
That's a nice assessment.
Okay. Regal is just so smooth.
Speaking of go ahead.
He's just believable and smooth.
I love watching Regal wrestle. I cannot wait to see his matches with
Goldberg.
At the time, the Belfast Bruiser.
Yeah.
Fit Finlay, of course.
Mark Starr almost got some pins here. We almost had a new TV champion.
This was a very competitive match, which means we need to give credit to
I wonder if they knew each other back in Mother Russia.
Right. Yeah, Mother Russia. Good competitive match. Mark Starr looks good. I mean, you can tell he's not just some schlub. He knows what he's doing. But really good match. And then Regal uses the tights to pin him, so it's not like I mean, usually if you've got an enhancement talent, you don't need a cheat, right? You just straight up pin him.
Why not cheat though?
No, he
Let's
cheats.
cheat.
Yeah, he cheats. Any thoughts though as we get to the finish here?
No, it was a good match. I enjoyed that match.
Couple of false finishes, and then Regal uses the tights to pin Starr. Very competitive match though. We then go to Dustin Rhodes versus Mark Kyle, a.k.a. Killer Kyle of Smoky Mountain Wrestling fame. We've seen Killer Kyle here before a few times in the past. Anyway.
Can you run it back?
To what?
104.19.
Oh, okay. You want those two lovely ladies.
Well, 1 out of 2 is not bad.
Or ladies. Maybe they're not lovely. I don't know. What?
Well, the one on the left has a little bit of like wildebeest in that family tree somewhere. Look at that. That gap
they
tooth.
both got enough fucking hairspray in their hair to torch the entire DFW Metroplex.
The one on the right. I wish Harper was here. He'd have some thoughts.
You'd have some thoughts on the one on the left too.
Ugh.
Because Harper would be like, man, how old you think
Really?
she is? Well, you answer your own question, Harper. You tell
The
us
guy
how
in the
old
back
she is.
kind of looks like a Jim Cornette.
I thought the same thing. He looks like Cornette, at least from what we can see.
Yeah.
Then he's got a hat on, so maybe not.
Yeah.
All right. Thoughts on this match, if any? This is a lot quicker than the last one.
Yeah, just, man, it's interesting because Dustin's got the crowd because he does a ton of like arm drags and arm bars, and the crowd's with him on it. So it's just like, we're not doing a whole bunch of stuff we don't need to do. I like that.
Agree.
Thought it was a good little match because, you know, Killer Kyle, friend of Bobby Blaze, he's a solid hand, and Dustin is really doing good work these days.
I'll tell you what, Killer Kyle's giving Dutch Mantell a run for his money with back hair.
He's got that taco meat hair.
Look at that. It's like carpet, dude. He's giving him a run for his money, man. Oh, boy. All right, well, Dustin's going to win. He hits a big old lariat and then a bulldog, and, of course, he's going to win by pin. Any thoughts, Doc, on the finish? I thought it was good.
It was all right.
Yeah. Right guy won, obviously. I mean, this guy's the United States champion. And the crowd was into it. You know, they're cheering. They're good. All right, Doc. Well, boy, speaking of what's coming next, man, you want to say anything before we go to Colonel Robert Parker?
Are you okay?
I can't even get it out because I'm so excited to talk about this.
Yeah, let's just hit it, man. He's the Colonel.
The Colonel's about to pitch Dustin to go to Ole Miss. Here it is.
All right, joining me at this time is Colonel Rob Parker. I believe he's trying to get the attention of the natural Dustin Rhodes. What is it, Colonel?
I need Rhodes over here for a minute. Come on over here, Puppy. I got a proposition here for you. Come on over, son.
What kind of a proposition, Colonel, would you have for these?
Let him get over here where he can hear me clearly.
Well, of course.
I got a proposition for you. You know, you got Starrcade coming up here, 2 out of 3 falls with my man Stunning Steve. You know, I could save you and your family humiliation of a 2 straight fall loss here. You know, I've offered propositions, but...
Whoa, wait a minute. That is a little premature, Colonel. I think this guy's got to be the favorite in that U.S. heavyweight title defense. As far as
on this here cigar and let me go ahead and offer my proposition. You know, I offered propositions before the Hammer. You don't see Hammer around here anymore. Sid Vicious, he's the same story. That $100 jackass Brian Pillman fell plumb off the title ladder altogether there. Well, I'm going to offer you a proposition. You just get that belt. Come over here and hand it on over to me right now. I'm going to save you the humiliation of a 2 straight fall loss there at Starrcade.
And I'm telling you, man, these are mighty fine cigars. Are these Cubans?
Oh, there's a lot more of them where that came from.
Oh, boy, they do smell. I tell you what I'm going to do, Colonel Parker. I'm going to give you my answer right now, okay? Should I give him my answer right now?
Folks, stay tuned. We're going to be back with more WCW Saturday Night and our main event. Oh, my word, Colonel. You're a mess.
Dude, Robert Fuller is a fucking god.
If you just look at him after that, it looks like it could have been 1977.
Yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't imagine you're in 1993. The
cigar humor.
Okay. So the first thing you don't see, I mean, y'all heard it, but if you're not watching on video on Patreon, tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT, which you should go join so you can see this stuff. Parker pulls out the cigar from his jacket. He stuffed this cigar in Gene's mouth that is as tall as Gene. And then Dustin takes the cigar and stuffs it down Colonel Parker's mouth when he decides to refuse the offer. This is gold. Like, Colonel Parker is incredible. Anything he touches is phenomenal. They got the KFC chants going in the background. You can tell that I believe this is not a piped in crowd for this promo because they're reacting to it. It feels more natural. This was great. What did you think?
Hard to argue with anything you just said. And he's just... He said it like this was like, you know, you think about Robert Fuller and the Southeastern and the stud stable and all this, but he said he had more fun doing this than anything else, probably because he was making more money doing this. But he also was just, this is the part he was born to play.
Yeah, the money he made certainly helped his thought process on why he enjoyed doing this. I mean, think about he's doing a lot less work for more.
Right.
If you know, he's not wrestling, he's just in there doing his thing. This is great. This man is something. Any other thoughts, Doc? I know I said Arn Rolex earlier, but we might have to go to Colonel Parker. We'll decide in a second when we get to the end of this thing.
Yeah, we can figure that out.
Don't you love the graphic?
We have a process for that.
We do. We're going to go to the next match, which is Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat versus Bobby Eaton and the Equalizer. More on that in a second. Weird combination there. Bobby Eaton, Equalizer. But we see the graphic before we go to commercial and then come back. It says Rick and Ricky coming up. And my whole thought was, you go to high school with them? We can't put Flair and Steamboat? We got to put Rick and Ricky?
They're the baby faces.
Sure.
You know what I thought about when I saw Bobby Eaton there?
Please tell me.
This is and all of you out there, you can relate. It's all of us workers at the shoot job that are there just because of the health insurance.
We're there for the paycheck.
Yeah.
This is, you go in and you see that coworker that you just can't stand. And you got to work with him on something. This is that. Bobby Eaton in the Equalizer. My whole thought process here was, Jesus Christ. Bobby, the only thing he could be thinking, I can't do a Bobby Eaton imitation. You know, like you said, that you always do with Harley Race. You go, at least the check's clearing, brother. I don't know how it sounds when Bobby says that, but that's what he's saying here.
Corny, I'd like to come over to Smoky Mountain, but I got to stay in WCW for the health insurance.
No, doesn't he call him Corn? He doesn't call him Corny. Corn?
Okay.
Corn? This is what he said. Corn? Check's clearing, man. I mean, check's clearing. Corn? Check's clearing. This is... Dude.
You know, I got to have the health insurance. So otherwise, I'd be over in Smoky with you and Stan.
Well, I don't know if he's got health insurance here with WCW, but the checks definitely are bigger than they would be in Smoky. But, you know, don't forget, he's still under... I mean, the whole thing when he did go to Smoky was because of the partnership with Watts.
Right.
So it's not like he could just go to Smoky. He's under contract right now. I love Bobby's tights, by the way. Just want to point that out.
Okay.
Anyway. All right. Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair versus Eaton and the Equalizer. This is really, really weird. I've only got one timestamp, and it's Bobby Eaton taking a backdrop on the concrete.
I got the same one, so.
Do you have any others?
Why was he doing that?
Because he's Bobby Eaton and he can't mail it in.
I guess so.
All right, let's go to the audio of that right now. Here it is. Flair's on the outside.
Nature Boy Ric Flair puts it all on the line December the 27th against Vader. See, that's the point I make. Why would Nature Boy choose Vader of all people?
Because he's a champ. Up! Oh, Bobby hit hard!
And that's on the cement. Let me tell you that. There ain't no pad there.
Bobby took that outside the ring backdrop better than anybody. And then he takes a hip toss, but it kind of landed on the padding on the second one. You know the thing about that backdrop, Doc? I want you to look at it when he takes it from Flair. He really doesn't get high off the ground.
No, he just went over.
But it looks good. That said, it still doesn't feel good when you hit the concrete.
Yeah.
So, anyway. Any other thoughts on this one? Equalizer kills the hard on.
Whoa.
That's what Harper would say.
When does he become Dave Sullivan?
Bro, I try to put that shit out of my mind.
I've never seen any of that, so I'm kind of curious.
Michael Moore, who's in our Facebook group, he posted a picture of the Dungeon of Doom.
No. Not that.
And he's like, I can't wait till they get to that. So we can, I don't remember exactly what he said, but
Sullivan wandering around in that misty studio looking for
I don't know if you remember. Master. Ming is in that, and he's got like powder all over him. It's so bad. He was like, dude, the boys are going to lose their mind. Maybe the show is going to end when they get to that point.
Just terrible.
We're not far from it, man.
Okay. So my whole thing is Rick and Riki is interesting, but I would have put Flair in a singles match to start telling that story. But that's, whatever.
Yeah, you could have put Flair in there against Bobby Eaton, had a really good competitive main event.
Or the Equalizer and have a squash match.
No. Because, see, I feel like we never get to see Bobby do his thing anymore. Okay. He's just floundering. I mean.
Well, so in this match, Jesse asked a really important question. He says, what happens if Flair and Vader go to a time limit draw?
Guess we'll have a rematch. Even though that's not going to happen. And
Tony says, well, I guess that we might need to ask the new commissioner we're about to name.
Do you know who that new commissioner is? I know.
I do.
Okay. Well, don't say it. No spoilers.
But Jesse says maybe John Tolos should be the commissioner.
Okay. Yeah, I got no comment on that guy.
Okay. My other note was Rick and Bobby are just so smooth. God. This is wrestling.
That's why I said if Flair is tuning up for Vader, they put him in there against Bobby Eaton, those two could have a competitive 15 minutes, an unbelievable 15-minute Saturday night match.
Of course.
Then again, why would you want to waste that here?
And without saying a word or putting too much thought into it, too.
That's right, because he's Bobby Eaton. If you would have been a guessing man back then, would you have thought that Ric Flair would have outlived Bobby Eaton?
Maybe.
I'm not wishing death on anybody here because we all.
It sounds like it.
We all have to die. But the fact of the matter is,
I'm going to live forever.
Okay, the fact of the matter is, Flair and his lifestyle have outlived Bobby Eaton.
Dude, Keith Richards is still alive.
That's a good point too. Life ain't fair, brother.
This shit is a wild ride with no explanations on how any of this shit's supposed to work.
I thought you were about to say it's a work. Well, it is, but
that too.
Yeah.
That too.
All right. Any other thoughts on them?
It was an all right match. It would have been better if we'd have had a better fourth guy in the ring, but it is what it is.
Let's go to Ric Flair now, who's with Mean Gene after the match, and he has got to cut a serious promo. Here it is.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to more of WCW Saturday Night. Great victory just moments ago here for Ric Flair and his partner tonight, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I want to talk about the big one. It's coming up 3 weeks from this Monday night exclusively on pay-per-view in your hometown. Ric Flair, you put your entire career on the line for an opportunity of meeting this monster of a man, Vader, for the WCW heavyweight champ. People are asking me why.
Well, I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to tell you why in a long, long sentence. It started in 1975, October 4th, to be exact. I was in an airplane that crashed in Wilmington, North Carolina. Gene Okerlund, in that airplane, one of the biggest names our sport has ever known, never walked away. He's paralyzed. His name is John Valentine. In that same airplane, the pilot died. In that same airplane, they carried Ric Flair in an ambulance to the hospital, and a doctor looked him in the eye and said, "Kid, you will never wrestle again." Let me tell you what, 18 years later, $10 million later, 10 world championships later, Ric Flair is looking a 400-pound monster. Not the greatest wrestler I've ever competed against, but maybe the greatest athlete in our sport today. A 400-pound man. I'm looking him in the eye, and I'm telling him like I'm telling Eugene, like I'm telling my mother and father, my wife and kids, Fifi, I want this one for me. Because there's a lot of people out there don't think I got it anymore. You know what I mean? Now they say, Flair, you got the nerve to compare yourself to Joe Montana, Ali, Jordan, people like that. Well, you're wrong. I got the credentials to compare myself. You see, I've been in Super Bowls like everybody else. In 1983, me. Texas Stadium, me. And a kid who is in the ground dead now. Kerry Von Erich did 47,000 people. I lost. But I lived to wrestle again, and I won again. In 1986, the Orange Bowl. Me and Dustin Rhodes, 50,000 people. Rhodes and Flair, not Montana and Marino. The Orange Bowl, it was mine and the American Dream. The arena in St. Louis, that's right. Me, Rhodes, 1983, 19,000 jammed in a smoke-filled building. Sam Mushnick, the greatest promoter of all time, retired that night. Who'd they pick to wrestle the main event? The American Dream and Ric Flair. That's the Super Bowls I've been to. Now, Charlotte, Starrcade, it started with Rhodes and Flair. You know who the referee was? Smoking Joe Frazier. That was Starrcade 84. Well, Starrcade 94, it's a 400-pound monster. It's me, it's my life. And I'll show you why, Vader. Why I'm not afraid to look you or God or anybody else in the eye. Because I'm going to walk that aisle. I'm going to style and profile. I'm going to show you why I'm the greatest wrestler of all time. And why I'm Ric
very
Flair.
much Ric Flair, that career on the line. 3 weeks from this Monday night at Starrcade. For Jesse and Tony and Gene Simmons.
Once again, I think that crowd noise is being piped in.
I do too, and I wish you hadn't said anything because now I can't unhear it, and I don't like it.
I realize, like, when you look at the match, I'm sorry. I realize he just wrestled a match and he's a little sweaty. But here's the problem. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. When you look at his hair when he rolls out the ring.
Yeah, he had combed it back.
Exactly. So it's definitely like it was filmed at a different time. And the crowd, I don't know how to explain it, but when you listen to how they're coming alive during it, it just seems unnatural the way they're cheering. So anyway,
AI basically.
It's just piped in. It's a crowd track. You know, similar way they had a laugh track.
Did WCW discover AI?
No, that's not AI. That was just a laugh track. It's totally different things.
Okay.
The promo was great. Don't get me wrong. I mean,
God, the promo
was phenomenal.
It was more than great. Couple of things. He said Starrcade 94, so he's a year. He messed that up, but let's don't. The piece that got me was he goes, my wife and kids, and then says Fifi. And it's like, wait a minute. But I've been in the Super Bowls. Not Montana and Rice, me. It's been a while since we've heard Rick really lean into one and not just do sort of through Nature Boy paint by the numbers. That was really good.
We used to get, if you remember, 4-minute Flair promos at Techwood with the old Saturday Night set all the time.
Yeah. This
was a 4-minute Flair promo. We used to get this all the time at Techwood. I don't know the last time we got a really, not that Flair's promos have been bad on Saturday Night. It's just, I don't know the last time we got one like this.
He mentioned Kerry Von Erich being dead.
I know. He mentions the 47,000 at Texas Stadium, give or take, depending on who you want to believe. Muchnick. The whole history lesson was wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
18 years, 10 million, and 10 world titles later.
The only thing is that I didn't like, and it's a small nit, he said Vader's not the best wrestler he's ever wrestled. I get it, and he's right, but I wouldn't have said that. But that's small potatoes. This was tremendous.
Yeah, I don't want to. I won't blame him. I'm not mad at him for saying that.
He was great.
Fantastic stuff. All right, you know what we got to do now? We got to rate it, hand out the Toot Toot Award. Before we do so, I want to remind everyone, please consider becoming a patron at tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. It's the only place you can hear us break down Battlebowl and put the boots to it and tell you what might have been good about it, even if it wasn't much. That's tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. Crockett and Harper did that show with me, as we said on this show a few times, because Doc was traveling for work. tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. Not only will you get that pay-per-view, you'll get all of our WCW pay-per-views dating back to 1985. You'll also get all of the Clash of the Champions at this point, which we have done 25 of them. You'll get the JV Goon Squad shows and the World Class shows with Lance and myself at tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. All right, Doc, let's rate it, hand out the Toot Toot. Harper's not here, so you're going to have to rate it first this week. I wonder if you can do that.
Of course I can.
Have at it.
This was a good... First of all, we've got to get to baseball season because this hour and a half is too long.
Okay.
But geez, we
got
saw
a long way
before
stuff. Baseball season, dude. It's December 4th right now. Go ahead.
Oh, no. Great episode, though. I mean, for all the faults that we've pointed out with the amateur challenge and the graphics and the bullshit, the top tier talent can still shine through at this point. So I'm going to give this an A.
I'm going to give it an... go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'm giving it an A.
All right. I thought you were about to add on. So, look. Arn was on this episode. Good little match with Tom Burton. Arn cuts a great promo. We then got... what was it? Not the Nasty Boys match, but Regal versus Mark Starr. That was a really underrated match. Excellent stuff. But then just think about we got an Arn promo that was great. We got a Colonel Parker segment that was phenomenal. And then we got Ric Flair. This is easily an A. I mean, like, after some of the stuff we've been seeing, thank God we got an A on this one. And Harper's not here to see it, so of course that means next week will be a F+. But yeah, this is an A. I agree with you.
Plus.
I mean, I don't know. It's been years since I've watched it, so we'll see once we do it. But yeah, this episode this week definitely gets an A, which leaves us with the Rolex and/or the Toot Toot Award. Doc, your thoughts on that one?
No, I'm going to let you go first on this one because you seemed a lot more conflicted about is it Arn. Yeah, this is
not an easy one to give out because Arn's promo was phenomenal. Colonel Parker was phenomenal. And then you got Ric Flair. The problem is there's no way I can listen to that Flair promo, even though I know the promo happens not in that moment and it's taped at another time. There's no way I can give it to anybody but Flair. So Flair gets it. I got to give it to Flair. The problem is I want to give it to all three of them, Arn, Parker, and Flair. So you know what? I'll give Arn the Toot Toot, and I'll give Colonel Parker his cigar, and Flair gets the Rolex. Like, that's the only thing I can do, because they all contributed greatly to this show.
You know, that's the problem with your generation. It's always the
participation award?
Everybody gets a trophy.
No, that's not true.
Yeah. You younger kids.
If everybody wanted to
don't
give a participation award, I'd have gave an award to Bob Starr for fluffing his ridiculous lion mane mullet, and I didn't. Continue though.
You're like my 9-year-old daughter. Who's your best friend? And she gives me 4 names. I'm like, no, best means 1.
Boy, just wait till she gets to high school.
Well, it's just as bad dealing with you because you can't make the hard decisions.
I gave the Rolex to Flair. I don't know what else you want.
The people, you'll learn when your generation gets the reins. It's
Shut
not
up
about
and give out your Rolex. Jesus Christ. We're almost 2 hours into this shit, and you're still filibustering.
You've clearly articulated the horses in the race minus Bob Starr, but was Ric Flair. 4 minutes, career on the line, history lessons. Any other week you could give it to Arn or Fuller, but it's got to be Rick.
Well, there you go. And that is how the episode just about wraps up.
And hey,
yeah.
I can't help it if I'm happy and excited to be back on the show after a couple of week absence. I don't think you should try to steal my joy.
Who's saying you shouldn't be happy and joyful?
I was until you started talking shit at me and making me feel bad about being excited.
So I know this. Okay, whatever. This episode is going to air after BTT Wildcat X-Rated.
Oh, boy.
So, and the next one will, then the next one will too, because of how we had to do it since be traveling. But once we do reconvene after our BTT Wildcat X-Rated show, we will we'll give an update, obviously. Yeah, we'll chop it up about that in case anybody's like, well, wait, y'all said...
We didn't say nothing.
Well, we did on the... But anyway, long story short, we realized BTT Wildcat X-Rated has already happened at this point. So we will we'll give an update once we're all back together as a trio.
Of course we will. We always do. Why wouldn't we?
Yeah, on that note,
are there people that are concerned and worried about this?
No. On that note, I wanted to remind everyone, when you see me post these shows on X, Twitter, whatever it's called, Blue Sky, Facebook, please share /repost. It helps the show grow tremendously. Something I never do on this show. We do still have a Pro Wrestling Tees store. Please go check it out. The link is in the show description if you're considering, or if you'd like a T-shirt of ours. I know we've sold several over the years, but it helps the show as well. So please go check out a T-shirt and buy 1 or 2, and that would be great. I have no impact on what Pro Wrestling Tees charges for shipping. I just want you all to know that. Anyway, on that note, Doc, any other closing thoughts before we get out of here and ride off into the sunset on our Kawasaki mules?
I don't guess so. I mean, I'm looking forward to next week getting Harper back in here and reuniting the best 3-man booth in the business.
For sure. It'll be great. All right. Well, on that note, for Mike and Doc and Harper, who's not here, Doc, hit the tagline. Let's roll.
Book it, bitch.
This is AI Eric Bischoff. No, I am not the real Bischoff. So don't work yourself into a shoot like these useful idiots in the wrestling media field. With that said, congratulations on making it to the end of this week's show. Don't forget to send your comments about what the guys discussed tonight to Luke Hawks on Facebook and on Twitter or X or whatever the piss they call it now. The rumor is Luke likes answering BTT fan mail. Also do the guys a solid by liking the show's Facebook, X, and Instagram pages. And don't forget to like and retweet or repost the show on all social media platforms. Lastly,
Become a BTT patron member where you get tons of extra shows. You can join at tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. Until next week, piss off dipshits. How the piss do you people listen to these useful idiots? These dipshits think they're fucking funny, but they ain't fucking funny. And somebody needs to tell them that. This goddamn show needs more D-Man and less of dipshit, Doc, hard-boiled Harper, and this Vanilla Ice Snoop Dogg, mumble, mouth Mills. You have to be an imbecile to find these three fuckers entertaining. Fucking clown show.